Hello, listeners. Jordan here. I just want to let you know that you can listen to Nighttime early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Handsome Aaron Airport. We've been so committed to the cause of keeping Canada weird by way of our weekly weird news roundups that I think it must have been close to a year since we took 1 week off. Sadly, I had to go down to the United States last week. That interrupted our schedule, but we released the Keep Canada Weird mailbag, Volume 2, and I'll tell you, the reception was great. People seemed to enjoy that.
I'm happy to hear that. I enjoyed it when I listened, so I'm a listener.
I don't listen because I just hear mistakes.
You don't listen?
No, because if I could listen 100 times and every single time I'd hear something different that made me like cringe. Something's too loud, something ends too early, that sort of thing. It drives me crazy.
When you're the person doing the editing, there's always things that you'd want to change to the recording, but from my perspective, I find it helpful to listen and help myself improve going forward. It's a very positive thing.
Yeah, nice. Well, speaking of improving and positive things, I want to start with a piece of mail. I got a voicemail from a listener named Ray, who we heard from, I think about 2 weeks ago. She sent us a voicemail that we kind of joked about because she was complimenting us. And a part of her compliments were like, if you get, you're going to have haters out there who, just because maybe you don't know the answers and you're a little uneducated. And, we kind of made the joke like, ha, 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 she's insulting us. You remember that?
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to play Ray's voicemail. She just left after hearing us talk about the voicemail she sent us previously.
Hi, Jordan and handsome Aaron. This is Ray again, your correspondent here in Oregon. I just wanted to say thanks for playing my voice messages on the air, and I also wanted to apologize for my second voice message if I did come across as anything but complimentary. All I was saying was that there's naysayers, and I think you're great. I certainly wasn't trying to put you guys down or anything like that, so I apologize. And thanks for giving Ken some nice scratches for me, handsome Aaron. That was really nice to hear. Okay, guys, have a great day. Bye.
So, I'll be honest, that kind of breaks my heart. I'm sarcastic to a fault. And I'm like dry and sarcastic. You're kind of the same way. So I think like when we get going, if someone's listening to us and they don't know us really well, maybe they probably think we're complete weirdos, but we're probably just joking in a way that only someone with like a strong sense of sarcasm gets. I feel like Ray maybe missed a bit of that. We didn't take offense at all to her saying we were uneducated.
No. I loved her previous voicemail, and I think Ray should call in every week. And Ken Tiggs is just right at the door here watching me record, and Ken Tiggs says, hello, Ray. And he enjoyed the little scratches and pets I gave him. Well, anytime.
Ray, sorry if we hurt your feelings. We know you meant well, and we mean well. It was just a big misunderstanding, right?
Don't walk away, Ray.
No.
Stay, Ray.
Well, let's get into it. We got a whole bunch to talk about tonight. While we've been away and I've been masquerading around Boston, Canada has been weird as heck. And we got the stories tonight to prove it. We got some stories about police and policing. We got some dumb crime and crime-related stories. And then we're going to end with some really interesting and exciting stuff. But what do you want to start with? I'm thinking the police. I love police stories.
All right. Well, if that's where you want to start, then let's start there.
I think there's a big story that we should start with. This involves a massive controversy that is tearing the Toronto police force apart. Earlier this month, the Toronto police found them gripped by the kind of controversy that can only start with humanity's most vile display of symbolism. Some cops parked illegally. A man called them out on it. And yes, a cop ended up giving that man the finger.
Friday afternoon, this man who posts videos online that he says shows cops breaking the rules essentially posted a video of two officers returning to their vehicle at Front and Berkeley, again in 51 Division here in the downtown core, after getting their Starbucks coffee. The problem was their vehicle was parked in a spot that said no parking, just a loading zone, and it was parked essentially halfway up on the curb. And so this man approaches these two officers as they're coming back to their cruiser, and here's the interaction.
You're on cam. Explain to me why you just said that to me. Explain why you just said it to me.
You're obviously bitter that somebody, you had a bad experience, and I apologize for that.
And why are you saying that to me? Why would you think that? Because I'm calling you out in your...
Have a good day, sir.
No, seriously. You guys got to learn, man. You got to respect the public a little bit more.
Rather me park on Front Street where it's very busy.
I'd rather you park in a normal parking spot.
Okay.
Yeah, just like everybody else has to.
Okay.
Have a good day.
And so the beginning of that interaction showed this man approaching these two officers, and the female officer in this video, that's about 7.5 minutes long, Bakari, says that, oh, the person who's shooting the video must have had a bad interaction with an officer in the past, and that's why he's asking these questions. What you see later in the 7.5 minute video is a second interaction. This man who's shooting the video, who, by the way, I spoke to him just a few minutes ago. He tells me he was not holding his phone. So the officers actually didn't know that he was still recording. He's got a pair of eyeglasses on, and these eyeglasses essentially shoot video as well. So in that interaction, he stops at a light. The cruiser stops at a light as well. And then the man shooting the video points out it's a green light. You can hear it there. It's a green light. Get going. And that's when the female officer says, "We're doing our job, bro." And then shortly after that, she flips him the middle finger. And so that's where part of the concern about this interaction is stemming from. I can tell you again, the Toronto Police Professional Standards Unit is now investigating this interaction.
Handsome Aaron Airport, are you as offended as I am by this?
I am offended by it, but I'm not sure if we're offended for the same reasons or not.
I'm offended by what it says about humanity. Every aspect of this I find offensive. The person who's going around like just calling out people and filming it and putting it online. We've talked about that sort of thing. That said, he is punching up by criticizing like the police, and he makes a good case. Like you often see cops, parked illegally outside of in this case, a Starbucks or a Robbins or a Tim Hortons or whatever. And, if we as regular people did that, we'd be at risk of getting a ticket. So, I don't like what they were doing. I don't like what he was doing. He called them out on it, and it just made everything worse. The finger, I think, is just one little drop of sand in this beach of just problem.
Yeah, I definitely lean on the side of the cops in this story. Like if they were parked in a handicap space, I'd say, okay, definitely call them out on it. But a loading zone out in front of a Starbucks, like find bigger fish to fry, my man.
Yeah.
Put your Google glasses on and go, fight a fire.
Yeah, but if they can do that and we can't, like there's no, I could get it if they were, on duty doing some kind of official thing, but I don't know. I don't like that they do this.
It's not that they can do it technically. It's that they're just doing it. Just like I've done it, and you've probably done
I do it all the time.
Parked in a loading zone in front of a store when there's no parking for blocks.
Yeah.
You're just going to do it. You're not going to do it in a handicap space, but you are going to do it in a loading zone where it's like, okay, I'm going to be 2 minutes in and out grabbing a coffee. I'm just going to park there. It's one of those things.
Yeah. So whether or not they should have or should not have parked in that spot, what about flipping the bird, giving someone the finger in your uniform from a cop car? I don't think they believed he was filming because, as you heard in the report, it's not like he was holding his phone or had a GoPro on his head. He was wearing like Google glasses, which I think just look like regular sunglasses from a distance, but they have a lens in them. So if he was holding his phone, I doubt they would have flipped the bird. But regardless, what do you think of them doing this? Is that cool?
Well, they're human beings. Like sometimes even when you're on the job and you're trying to be professional, people push your buttons and sometimes you just react
Hmm.
in the moment. And I don't like us spending so much time bringing down politicians or police officers or
But
whatever
it's so
other
easy.
professional people. I know, but it's like bring them down for other reasons, but like for being human and flipping the bird and reacting maybe emotionally, like having their emotions take control of them and then they kind of lose it in a moment. It's like let them be human. And if they took it further and attacked the guy, then obviously that is way too far
Okay.
for them to go. But flipping the bird to a guy who's being really obnoxious and driving them crazy and pushing them to the point where they kind of go a little blind with rage
Yeah.
and they flip the bird to him.
Well,
Like, who
they
cares?
gave him exactly what he wanted. He was being obnoxious
Yeah,
and
unfortunately.
intentionally like trying to push their buttons so he could get something, and he did. This was a big story, and in the name of his like YouTube channel and everything is, or his Twitter account is like embedded in all these news reports that are using his video. They gave him exactly what they want because they let their emotions get the better of him. I want to play one other clip on this story, and then we can move on. This is such a big deal that the Premier of Ontario, Ford, had to weigh in on it. Here's what he said about the police giving this guy the finger. And oddly enough, I think you're going to agree with him.
We need to support our police, and that goes for this morning too. That video going around, let's support our police. Let's thank them rather than getting Google glasses and trying to, harass our police. That's what I call it, was harassment. And why don't you say thank you, shake their hands, and keep going. And by the way, next time you're at a coffee shop, I'll run in and buy you a coffee. It's kind of creepy, the guys walking around with these Google glasses. It might be the thing, but I find it pretty creepy. Imagine some guy walking down the street, videotaping everything you had. Now they're using the glasses. Anyways, I support our police, and as far as I'm concerned, they did nothing wrong today. I absolutely love them.
He is the everyman premier. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with him or with you or the police. I think the whole thing is just silly, and that's why it's being highlighted here on this show. It's just more nonsense.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird, silly story. The guy with the Google glasses is ultimately the villain in all of this. So we need to be clear about that.
I don't know.
There are,
I'm just gonna say it. I find in most stories you hear in Canadian media, and you see across Canada, the police often come across as villains. I think this guy is trying to showcase that by agitating it. So I don't know. I think it's
this guy is just trying to get views on his YouTube or his Instagram or, his TikTok, whatever it is, whatever platform he prefers. That is all that guy cares about. He doesn't care about parking spaces. He doesn't care about public safety. He doesn't care about what the police go through on a daily basis. He doesn't care who those police officers are, what happened immediately before this incident happened and immediately after, where they had to go. All he cares about 100% is views and likes and shares.
okay.
And that is it. The people who behave like that in public and the people who walk around filming everything everybody does and sticking cameras in their faces and trying to get them at a low moment and record it and put it up online to humiliate them or to make some kind of a bizarre point. And then he pushed a police officer to the point where they gave him the finger,
Yeah.
which I completely agreed with.
Okay. That part I do agree with, the finger. Let's move on, though. Let's see if we agree with this interaction with, not with a police officer, but with an emergency responder, I suppose. A frontline emergency services provider, the 911 call operator. You remember last week, I kind of demoed a new segment on Keep Canada Weird, which was listening to a nonsensical 911 call. On our prior episode, we heard the Peel Regional Police share their example of an inappropriate call to emergency services. The call specifically was to complain about the sirens, the frequent sirens. I'm sure you remember that. Well,
Yes, oh yes.
let's listen to another idiot calling 911. This one is also coming out of Ontario, released by the same police force, the Peel Regional Police, for the same reason, to highlight inappropriate calls they receive.
911. Do you need police, fire, or the ambulance?
No, I need the bank on Westwood Mall phone number.
Okay, ma'am,
Yes.
do you have a life-threatening emergency right now?
No.
Okay, 911 is for life-threatening emergencies or major crimes in progress. I do not have the phone number of any banks in the area.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is not an appropriate use for 911. There's lots of people who have real emergencies, but now I'm speaking to you.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
I can't help but to laugh. It's so absurd that I think it was a little old lady calling 911 to get the number for the bank at the mall, it seems. And she seemed genuinely like apologetic and surprised that she got it so wrong. Like when they told her, like, you can't call 911 for this, she's like, oh my God, like really? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I can't imagine.
So-
Like, do you? How is 911 such a new concept to someone that they're like, I need the phone number for the bank. I'm going to call 911.
I'm surprised that they released this one in particular and didn't pick a better one to release. Like the one about the guy complaining about the sirens was a great one.
Yeah.
Like that's one that clearly shows somebody who is ignorant, truly ignorant.
And wasting time because he was willing to
And
argue.
wasting time. Yeah. Yeah. This one is short and she sounds old, like maybe she doesn't quite understand what she's doing.
It could also be, I don't know if this is still a thing, but once upon a time, didn't you dial 411 and get like directory assistance? And you could ask, like, I'd like the number for, Aaron Airport on Cape Breton Street. And they would like look it up and give it to you. Like, I wonder if it could have been something like that.
I don't appreciate you telling people where I live.
I'm sorry. I'll edit that out. I'll make sure I do. Just for
Yeah,
privacy.
please do. Yeah, I don't need the hounds of justice coming to my door.
But yeah, you're right. It's a short clip, 30 seconds ish of wasted time. That all said, though, when we listened to the last clip with the dude with the siren, we commented on the 911 operator, kind of giving him a bit of room to explain himself. Where this operator we heard on this call, she shut this down right away. Like, whoa, like, is there an emergency? You cannot call here for this reason. Where last time we heard her, the 911 operator, like explaining why there's so many sirens and there's growth in the city, where she should have been like, where this operator, I think, would have said like, sir, are you calling to complain? Go to the police station and do this. We got to go. Bye. And it would have been a 30-second call.
Yeah. I feel like there has to be better examples to be posting other than this one. This one sounds like a sweet old lady who was truly just looking for a number to the bank and not really knowing how to go about it.
Yeah. Maybe it's
so I thought that she could have been a little politer to her and not make her feel so bad. And
yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to go through the Peel Regional Police archives, and maybe we'll visit one next week, and we can continue to kind of review, and maybe we'll call it audit. We'll continue to audit whether or not they should have released these calls. The first guy, yes, name and shame. They should have given him his address, the siren guy. This old lady.
Just tell her to call 411 or whatever. But certainly I don't suggest posting it to the public to have her be humiliated when, she just might not really understand.
Well, yeah, I kind of, and they also didn't disguise her voice. The other guy, they kind of gave him a bit of, maybe they just didn't want to deal with him calling and complaining about that, where they knew she wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, we're dealing with a fairly condensed area here. Like, it's not like we're talking about all of Canada. Like, this is one police department, right, or one 911 department. So I'm sure people will hear that voice and be like, oh, that's Mrs. Johnson. I work at the ice cream shop and she's always calling looking for cement.
Before we go on a short break and before we get to our next story, let's hear from another listener. This is Linda from Maine. She has an interesting question. I'm curious to see how we handle this. Here's what Linda has to say.
Hello, Jordan and handsome Aaron Airport. This is Linda. I live in the United States, Bangor, Maine. I have been listening to Keep Canada Weird for, maybe not quite a year, about 6 months or so. My husband got me listening to it. The reason I'm calling is just to kind of find out where your favorite place is in Canada. I know that one of you is in the Cape Breton area that I haven't been to. And Jordan, I think you're in Halifax, which I haven't been there either. We got our passport cards last summer to be able to come to Canada. So I was just curious to find out where your favorite place was in Canada, and just love the podcast, and think you guys are a lot of fun to listen to, and just looking forward to finding out what you think. Take care. Bye.
Let's tackle this. Who goes first?
I'm nervous about this question, to be honest, because this is Keep Canada Weird that we're talking about. And for us to pick, it's like picking a child, you know, which child do you love more?
I'm going to pick based on her location in that she's probably driving. I think, and it's, I'm biased, of course, because I live here, but I think a great vacation in the summer is to come to Halifax, start in Halifax, and spend the majority of your time in Halifax, but doing day trips from Halifax. So go stay in a hotel in Halifax, but do a day in Lunenburg, which is a beautiful little town. Take a day and go down to Cape Breton and drive on the Cabot Trail, which is internationally known as like one of the best drives. But I think like someone could come, 5-day vacation. If you come at the right time of year, summer, I think you can't beat it. I live here because I love it here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Nova Scotia would be probably her best bang for the buck in terms of what you'll get, what you have access to, in terms of touristy things, I guess. But at the end of the day, why don't you head over to Toronto and spend some time in the big city? Okay. I don't know. You and I were just there. We had a good time.
No, I was I did have a great time, but I was happy to get home.
Yeah, but I love all of the Canadian provinces equally, is my diplomatic answer. And the only answer is to visit all of Canada.
Yeah, do the whole thing, Linda, and keep us up to date. If you do come Halifax way, feel free to email me for restaurant recommendations.
And if you come to Cape Breton, I live on Cape Breton Street, so
knock on a couple doors.
Don't just whatever you do, don't go to Tim Hortons.
We got to move on to another one. I got a good story for us here, Aaron. We talked about police, we talked about 911, but now let's kind of flip to the other side of the law. Let's talk about a criminal, or at least an alleged criminal. More specifically, fraudster. This is Edmonton's hot tub guy who found himself in hot water. While we were on break, the Edmonton police issued a press release informing the public they're investigating a series of fraud complaints against a local hot tub repair person. 55-year-old Kenneth Nichols has been advertising his hot tub services on Kijiji and pissing countless people off. Here's the story.
Police in Edmonton are investigating dozens of complaints of fraud against a hot tub repairman. Customers claim he stole thousands of dollars and in some cases, even their hot tubs.
Dion Byer was due for a new hot tub, so he says he reached out to Kenneth Nichols, owner of 24-hour hot tub service. Byer says Nichols fixed his old hot tub before, so he trusted him.
He seemed very honest, professional. He seemed to show up when he was going to show up. Had no problem answering my phone calls.
This time, he says it was different. Byer says they both agreed on a tub and was told it would take 4 to 6 weeks for the parts to come in. Byer also agreed to a deposit of $3,500. He paid it and then...
It was almost like a light switch flipped off and I could, communication almost ceased to exist at some point.
Byer says when Nichols would reply, he had plenty of excuses for his silence.
And he said, "I'm sorry, I apologize. My daughter has cancer. She's in the hospital. We're taking turns. I'll get back to you as soon as I can."
Months later, Byer says he never got his hot tub or his money back. Police tell CTV News they're now investigating more than 30 fraud-related complaints against Nichols. Police claim Nichols took large deposits from clients and failed to deliver on the transactions. They also believe he sometimes refused to return customers' hot tubs and also sold used or damaged hot tubs. One of those complainants is Travis Sapolitinsky. He paid Nichols more than $1,200 up front for a new hot tub cover.
He's told me specifically he's been scammed out of money when people have not prepaid for the tub cover.
After the payment,
he ghosted me. He would not return a call, would not return a text.
People we spoke with say they filed civil claims against him, but he didn't show up to court. Court documents show he owes more than $13,000 to 2 plaintiffs. Further documents show he did not pay his employees. We went to Nichols to hear his side of the story.
I just have a couple of questions about the... Right, come on, a couple of questions, please, Ken.
Police say Nichols now works from home and advertises his services on Kijiji. They're still investigating and no charges have been laid.
Is nothing sacred. You can't even get a hot tub cover without some shyster trying to take your $1,500 or whatever it is. This guy, what's he thinking? It's you would think in one specific community, something as isolated as like hot tub repair and maintenance, like to run a scam throughout that. Did he think like this wasn't going to come back to bite him?
Yeah, it's a weird venue to get into in terms of scamming people and ripping people off. So I feel like it would be nice to hear his side of the story, just because he probably has some logical reason as to why. Oh, I actually do know a lot about hot tubs, and then eventually I just found out I was terrible at repairing them, so I figured I'd just rip people off instead. I don't know.
I don't know if that'll be his explanation. I have a feeling it has something to do with like, I don't know, like gambling or drinking or something. I just don't, because it seems so like reckless and self-destructive what he's doing, and like kind of evil. But just kind of reading between the lines in the story, it seemed that he had a business at one time, and some of these people that we heard from in the story actually did business with him, and things were fine in the past. But something's changed where now he works from home, and he finds his work through Kijiji, which is like a little sketchy anyway. It's like Kijiji is like a step up, or maybe a step to laterally from like, I know a guy, there's that kind of idea, like, I need something done, but I know
in Kijiji's heyday, certainly that was the place that you went for any services, really. But not a lot of people use Kijiji anymore unless they don't know how to use the rest of the internet.
Yeah, you don't hear about it often, and especially not for like for these kind of services. I would think if I don't know, but I guess it can be attractive because you can probably save a fortune. If you needed something for your hot tub, you could go on Kijiji and maybe get lucky and it cost you however much money, or go to like an actual established professional hot tub store and probably pay 3 or 4 times what, the I know a guy can do for you. But I guess you get what you pay for sometimes. Is that fair to say in this case?
Again, you're always running that risk. When you're dealing with somebody who's not a long-standing, reputable business. So I don't own a hot tub, so I guess I have a hard time connecting emotionally to this story. Hot tub covers and hot tub repairs just don't tickle my heartstrings, to be honest.
What about people doing wrong, getting charged for it, and then just not even showing up for court? Like, I think you can agree that is just awful, and something should be done about that.
Yeah, I agree that something should be done about it, and this man should be stopped. But then at the same time, I'm like, it's hot tub covers. It just doesn't grab me,
It just doesn't do it. You just can't bring yourself to care. It's a victimless crime. Stealing their money.
Just duct tape a bunch of grocery bags together and run that over the top of your hot tub.
I'm sure that's the same. I'm sure that's just how it works. Next time, like someone needs something done for a hot tub, they just be like, I know a guy, Aaron Airport.
I know a guy. Yeah. Just go to nighttimepodcast.com/contact and leave your hot tub request there, and he'll get to it.
I feel for a victim of this kind of
I do,
crime.
yes. No,
I know you
it's
do.
disappointing.
I know you do.
I do to an extent. It's just, you know, there's just there's so many cops giving the fingers to annoying people with glasses out there for me to care.
Yeah, to the real problems like that. Yeah, I think like the police or who they did the best they could at this point, I think, because now it's before the courts. He's charged, he's not showing up. It's like the courts got to deal with that. But the police issued the press release with his photos and his name. So I think he's going to have a harder time getting away with it. So at least they did what they had to do to stop it for now. But let's move on. You don't
Hold
care.
on. No, listen.
Oh,
We forgot to do something right off the top of the show.
okay. I think I know what it is.
Something extremely important that we do at the top of every show, and we did not do it at the top of this show.
Aaron,
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead.
one sec. I just took a sip of my tea with milk and sweetener. What do you got over there?
I have what's left over from my supper is Sprite from Wendy's.
Oh, Sprite or 7 Up? Have you ever done the taste comparison to make a...
Not side by side.
Okay.
I've had both, but not at the same time to really truly compare them.
I know I prefer Pepsi over Coke, but I don't know how I feel about 7 Up versus Sprite. I want to do the blind comparison. But anyway, that's an interesting drink, and it's keeping you quite refreshed. Your voice sounds great, well lubricated and smooth, and you seem a little peppy. Maybe there's caffeine in there. I don't know if there isn't.
No, there's no caffeine in Sprite.
Okay, you just had a good sleep last night.
Yeah, that's a dark pop thing.
Let's get to the next story. We know what we're drinking. We know that you don't necessarily get too passionate and fired up about hot tubs, but I know you care about cats. And I know you love a good cat came back story. While we've been away last week, I think my favorite cat came back news story played out. This one's dramatic. It has it all. It has tears, it has shock, it has surprises, it has a massive coincidence. You're going to like this one. Canada's most dramatic cat came back story played out in Toronto while we were away. Here's what happened.
Mary Lynn Simon was at her desk at work when she got the call last week.
I could barely make sense of it. She said, "Is Jinx missing?"
Jinx was Simon's Abyssinian cat who had gone missing back in 2011.
He was an indoor cat, and I had him from the time he was a kitten. And then when we moved, he would have been 2 years old, and he discovered the great outdoors.
Over the past 13 years, Simon wondered what had happened to Jinx and whether or not he was even still alive.
It's difficult. It's sad.
And then last week, she found out Jinx was not only alive and well, but it also made it some 20 kilometers from the west side of Toronto to the east side of town.
Did he have an owner, more than one owner? Did he travel by foot? If only he could speak.
Jinx can't speak, but the man who found him can. Louis Georgievsky was on his way home from the dentist last Tuesday when something caught his eye at the side of the road.
I said, "Oh my God, that's a cat at the bus stop." So I drove, I made a turn, and I come back.
Louis scooped up the cat, put him in the car, and drove him straight to his veterinarian's office.
I'll ask him to check for microchip. If he has a microchip, we're happy. And sure enough, he had a microchip.
And that's where the connection was made, that Jinx had an owner. But when Louis found out that Jinx had been missing for more than a decade...
I got a goosebumps just like now. I couldn't believe it. 12 years cat missing? Wow.
For Louis, what made the discovery of Jinx even more emotional was the day that he found that cat. It was the exact same day his own cat disappeared. Now Louis hopes someone else will do what he did and help find his missing cat.
That cat is not stray. That cat has an owner. I'm the owner of that cat. The rightful thing is, please bring my cat back.
And in the meantime, he's happy he managed to return Jinx to his home and to an owner who missed their cat just as much as he does.
Something else, eh? That story was like, that was powerful. That cat went missing, and like the most empathetic, bleeding heart human is who found him.
Yeah, it's someone whose cat just went missing that day, wasn't it?
Yeah, what are the chances of that? And I'm wondering if that's why he was so emotional. Because like finding
I'm
someone
sure, yeah,
like
because
'cause
he's just lost his cat.
yeah, so he sees this cat, he kind of does a loop around the block or whatever, goes back, immediately brings it to like a vet to see if it has a tag or whatever, finds the owner, and it's like he's on the news crying. And it's like I get it, it's an emotional thing, but you see these kind of cat came back stories in the news on occasion. We've covered a few of them on this show, but I've never seen not the owner like brought to tears, but the person who found the cat so moved by
Mhm.
the experience and at the same time dealing with the loss of their own cat. The hell?
Well, I'm sure it gives him hope that his cat will be found if a story like Jinx's, where, it's been missing for so many years, and then all of a sudden somebody finds it. It's got to be a strange reunion for that owner of the cat.
After
Because I think
13
they said
years,
that,
right?
yeah, like they only had the cat for maybe 2 years
And
when it went missing, and then for it to be gone for so long. Does that cat even really remember who you are?
I can't imagine it does. And that cat looked like it's seen some stuff. Like Jinx was it was an old cat. And it's like you could tell he's been living out on the streets, like his ears were all screwed up and stuff. And yeah, I don't know if he had any idea what was going on. I have a feeling like shortly after that news clip, Jinx just took off again.
Oh yeah, it's like coming back from Vietnam. You're just not the same anymore.
Yeah, that's what it was like. That's what it looked like.
So
And she's like holding Jinx. He's this big, kind of mean looking cat. Jinx wasn't necessarily a cute cat. I think like if things go
hey,
wrong,
hey, hey, now
I'm just
every
gonna say
cat
it.
is cute. Every cat is cute. Take it back.
All right, I do take it back, but what I will say is that if things don't go right for Louis, if he doesn't find his cat, I just wonder, like, are the stars aligning in such a way that it makes sense for Louis to take Jinx home?
Well, he already gave them their cat back, so I don't think
But
he can
yeah, but
go knocking on their door and
but it's
say,
been maybe they should
"Can I
offer
have
it.
it?"
It's been 13 years. Like, are they even in a position still to have a cat?
I
Louis
don't know.
actively has a cat that just went missing. It's been 13 years. Their life has changed. They've moved on. They could have they could have different pet now that's not compatible with Jinx. I don't know. I think like I know it's a difficult conversation for them to all have. And if they need someone to mediate or help out, I'm willing to do it on air. But yeah, I just think that's a conversation maybe to have.
I think they should at least go and to the neighborhood that this gentleman lost his cat and help look for it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they owe him that much for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So that's what they should at least do.
Okay. Well, speaking of doing things for other people, I want to play a voicemail from a listener named Charlotte. She wants to do something nice for us, and she's not sure how to go about it. Here's Charlotte's message.
Hey Jordan, this is Charlotte from Texas. I wanted to give you guys a good review and 5 stars, but I don't know how to do that. Can you provide a link or something for the idiots like me who have no tech knowledge at all? Thanks.
I think what Charlotte's referring to, and a lot of podcasts, they'll request their listeners go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whichever the podcast place is, and they'll ask their listeners to go give them a review and rate the show 5 stars or whatever the top rating is. So we don't really talk about that much. I think what we did do once though was we read some of our bad reviews, and maybe we should do that again sometime. But but the thing with reviews is I never really recommend it because I don't know if it like does any good for anybody. I think I would rather if you want to give us 5 stars, I think sending us a voicemail and expressing your 5 star review of us, that's a good way to do it. Or if you want to help us out, you could also let all your friends know that you give us 5 stars and maybe they'll want to listen to you. I think that's the best way to do it. But technical answer is if you listen to podcasts on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, there's a spot there where you can rate and review the show. And maybe it helps. I don't know really what it does. To me, it seems like someone who wants to say something bad about a podcast, they usually go and write it in those reviews. So I kind of ignore them.
Yeah, yeah. Telling your friends about the show is the best way to do it. To actually get a new listener out of your recommendation to someone, would that be the best way to help us?
We got some exciting stuff ahead of us here, including a groundbreaking, maybe first in Canada, media partnership that we're going to talk about. We talked in a prior episode about our interest in pursuing some kind of relationship or promotional sponsorship kind of thing with Robin's Donuts. And the reason we wanted that is because you and I both see Robin's as the pinnacle of coffee in Canada. They're both of our preference. That's something we do agree on. We called out for listeners who had any kind of influence with corporate Robin's to try to put things in place to make that happen. Donna's responding to that request.
Hello, Aaron and Jordan. It's Donna reporting to you from Thunder Bay, Ontario. I was originally going to reach out to you because of the Robin's Donuts call out that you had made, looking for some kind of a partnership. I thought maybe I could offer my assistance as I do live in Thunder Bay, and not sure if you know this, but Robin's Donuts started in Thunder Bay in 1975. I know you guys appreciate a thoroughly researched story, so I was looking into Robin's Donuts, and I see that they are owned by Chairman's Brand. And in furthering my research, I have come across a major breaking story. I am a longtime listener, and I've never bought into the animal uprising baloney. I just thought it was BS. However, in researching the Chairman's Brand, on their website, it makes mention of the fact that they are committed to only purchasing roasting chickens that are ethically treated, and they have a whole series of points that they make how the chickens need to be treated in order for Chairman's Brand to purchase from them. This cannot be a coincidence. It goes all the way to the top, you guys. Donna out.
I think Donna is maybe putting it in a way that would suggest that maybe animals are involved in running Robin's. I prefer to think that the owners of Robin's probably feel the same way about animals that you do, and they're seeking to make friends and not put themselves immediately in harm's way by ethically sourcing their roasted chicken. That's what I think is going on there. I like the research Donna did, though. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and it can't be a coincidence that Robin's Donuts is Robin's, right? Named after a bird.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she's right. I think the connection she's making is right. Her eyes are finally opening to the existence of the animal uprising. So
she can consider herself
woken up.
Yeah. I think ultimately, though, this is just another way that a partnership between Keep Canada Weird and Robin's Donuts makes absolute sense. And I've taken it to the next level. I reached out to Robin's myself. I never do this sort of thing, trying to sell a sponsorship or an ad. I wrote them this big letter about how you and I feel about their coffee, and we prefer it over the competitors. And we talk about it a lot on the show, and we would love to make anything happen in terms of sponsorships, partnerships. Even if, it wouldn't need to be a big money thing, we'd do it for, a gift card or something like that, just to make it an official sponsorship and co-brand this show. Again, sent this big letter. The response I received, what's the sound of I don't know, just wind blowing through an empty room?
Sadness. The sound of sadness.
I didn't receive anything back. They didn't even respond to me, but that does not change the way I feel about them. I still prefer Robin's. I still want the partnership to happen. And that's why I dreamed up this radical idea that, as far as I could tell in my research, is a first in Canada. It's what I'm going to call a guerrilla one-sided sponsorship deal. This is one where we air ads, we create ads, we have a one-sided agreement arrangement with Robbins that they certainly know nothing about. Just like we've made it our mission to keep Canada weird, I think we should incorporate into that running ads that we create for what we think is Canada's best coffee shop.
Robbins, there must be a reason they're not responding to us. They are elusive. There's not as many locations as there are of Tim Hortons, so they do remain more in the shadows as a coffee shop. So maybe they don't want too much attention drawn to them on purpose.
Maybe they're
I'm not
worried
sure.
maybe they're worried the Keep Canada Weird army will kick the door in
And they just wouldn't be prepared for the amount of volume of customers that would be bursting through the doors if that were to happen. And so for that reason, maybe they're waiting until they're more prepared, have a few extra locations opened up before they're going to ink a sponsorship deal with us.
I could also see them having like a draft of a response, and the CEO is just like, "Oh my God, should I hit send?" Like, "Oh, this is like," and he gets his assistant to read it, and they're like, "I think it's good, man. Just send it." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna sleep on it tonight, and I'll send it in the morning." Maybe he's just sweating. He or she is just sweating how they're gonna respond to us. But either way, I want to just jump right into the sponsorship deal. We got the first ad, and I think usually you kind of record these things and air them, but you want to just jump into it live, see how it goes. This is one that I wrote. Maybe next week you can write an ad.
Yeah. We can give it a read and see what happens.
Okay, so the setting for this ad is I'm envisioning this as an ad on TV. You and I are sitting at a Robin's Donuts at a table. We probably are just like meeting up for a coffee in the morning. Hustle and bustle of Robin's Donuts is happening around us.
An upbeat, playful music playing in the background.
You start it.
Hey, you ever walk into that other coffee shop, order a donut, and think, did I just eat a sponge?
Right, I've had cereal that's fresher than the crap they sell. They've lost their minds over there.
Well, Jordan, I'm glad we made the move to Robbins, where their donuts are handmade and freshly baked.
And the coffee, it's so smooth. I want to write a poem about it. Seriously, it's that good.
I just don't understand why people keep going back to that other place with no direction and donuts that can double as rubber tires. Come on over to Robin's Donuts, where every bite's a delight and the coffee's always right.
3, 2, 1.
Robin's Donuts, your
favorite
Okay,
stop.
we gotta hold on. We just go Robin's Donuts beat your favorite stop.
Okay, do you want to do the countdown?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop. Oh, man.
That was tough. I've never done like a live ad on my show. I've always pre-recorded them and they just like air. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, but it's sincere. It's accurate. It's calling it an advertisement is probably inaccurate because that would probably imply that they know about it and are paying and stuff. This is just a straight up one-sided guerrilla promotional deal, we should call it, actually, is more appropriate. It's a promotional piece. But, I'm not good at writing ads, as you've heard there. Maybe you can try one, Aaron, but what I would really like is I'm going to call out to listeners, members of the Keep Canada Weird Army. I would love to hear you either write an ad for Robin's Donuts that Aaron and I read, or if you're not shy, record your own and send it in. And we could maybe critique a couple like...
I like them recording their own on the nighttimepodcast.com/contact.
Yeah, if you want to record your own, go to nighttimepodcast.com/contact and just put it out there. If it don't be shy, you can do it anonymously. If you want to make something nonsensical, that's fine. Whatever you want to send. I would love to hear your take on a Robin's Donuts ad. Or again, like I said, you can email me nighttimepodcast@gmail.com with a script. As long as it's short enough, Aaron and I will do it. But I'd rather hear your own. And here's how I'll sweeten it. Like I always will send people stickers and keep Canada Weird swag just by having a voicemail shared. But if that voicemail is a Robin's Donuts ad, I'll send you something special. Something more than stickers. I don't know what yet, but
Well, a
something
gift
big.
card to Robin's Donuts would be appropriate.
Whoa, that's a great idea. Yeah. If you have a Robin's Donuts ad that you create yourself, send in by going to nighttimepodcast.com/contact and recording it. We'll air it on the show and I will send you, if it's possible, a $5 gift card for Robin's Donuts. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the reason I say if it's possible, I may go in there and they may say we don't have $5 gift cards or we don't even have gift cards. In that case, I'll just send you a $5 bill.
Well, it also would depend on where the caller is from. If it's somebody from the United States who's doing that for some reason,
Then I'll send them a $5 bill.
a Canadian $5 bill.
Oh yeah, that's what's that, $3? I'll send them a Canadian
Just
chocolate bar.
more, just more stickers. Just more
You
stickers
get
than you
like
would
two of
normally
every
do.
sticker.
Yeah.
No, you can choose between two of every sticker or a Canadian chocolate bar if you're an American. And that would be interesting. If you're an American and you have no idea what Robin's Donuts is, still do it.
Yeah, we want anyone to do this. It's just finding the appropriate gift to give you in exchange. But yeah,
Maybe they can suggest a gift.
no, I don't think they should have that power.
Yeah, let's slow down.
Yeah, easy now.
Either way, I know someone will deliver. We're gonna get hopefully in the next episode we have a great ad to air. I like this. I'm excited. One last voicemail though before we put a bow on this. This one I saved for last because I know this is gonna open a couple doors. This is a voicemail from a listener named Caitlin. She wants to talk to us about something we've talked about in the past, the Tim Hortons stage show / movie, The Last Timbit. Here it comes.
Hi, Jordan and handsome Aaron Airport. This is Caitlin reporting from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I've been listening to your show for a while now, and I really love what you guys do, specifically the content on Tim Hortons. And I was just watching YouTube, and I felt like you needed to know this. I listen to unpaid YouTube because I love ads and I work in marketing. And I was just served an ad for a live Tim Hortons musical that you can also watch on Crave that's called The Last Timbit. And apparently it's about people that survive a storm in a Tim Hortons. So I'm hoping that, Jordan, you're able to attend or watch said musical and let us know your thoughts on Tim Hortons' new venture into theater. Apparently, they've tapped out all menu options, and now this is what they have to offer us. So, looking forward to your comments on this, and thank you guys so much for doing what you do. Bye bye.
So yes, we did once upon a time cover the stage show and the launch of the stage show. Neither of us went to see it. I would have if it was being performed in Halifax or something, but I'm certainly not going to travel. But she makes a really interesting and exciting point. The movie version of Tim Hortons' The Last Timbit is now available on Crave. I have a Crave subscription. I don't know if you do, Aaron. If
Oh,
not,
I
I could
do.
probably.
Oh, I do.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So I think you know what we're getting at.
And it's not a movie version. It's just the filming of the play.
Oh, really? I thought it was like a movie version. So you would be watching the play.
You're just going to be watching a highly produced recording of the play.
Okay. I'm going to let you come up with an idea on how we handle this. And I think like it couldn't be lined up better because you are a harsh critic of Tim Hortons and you also have like a massive, well-established background in both like writing plays, directing plays, performing in plays, producing plays. This couldn't be more perfect. What are we going to do?
Here's what I think we should do. We should have an episode dedicated strictly to this. To be released as some bonus content on the Keep Canada Weird feed and in the nighttime Patreon feed as well. And that way we can give it the full attention that it deserves. Because I think we should be going, through all of the gory details of The Last Timbit.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So just to be clear with what you said there is we'll continue to do our weekly Keep Canada Weird News Roundup, But on the Keep Canada Weird podcast feed, which is free for anybody on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get podcasts, Keep Canada Weird has its own feed where I put the weekly Weird News Roundup as well as the bonus content that Aaron and I do together. So what you're suggesting, and I agree with you, is we'll do something related to this movie that'll be on the Keep Canada Weird feed, and I'll also add it to all my premium feeds with like patreon.com/nighttime podcast. So everybody who listens is going to have access to this, but I'll make it a full episode. So when we're referencing something from the play, I'll incorporate like excerpts and stuff of key moments. So if somebody watches The Last Timbit, they can hear a review after. But even if you haven't watched it, I'll make sure you can follow along with the plot and hear examples of what we're critiquing in our Keep Canada Weird The Last Timbit review extravaganza.
Yeah.
We've been through so much tonight. It's been a roller coaster. We got to put a bow on this. Anything you want to say before we do?
No, I have nothing to say to you.
Handsome Aaron Airport, until next time.
Jordan, until next time.
For your The Last Timbit review, I suggest popcorn, a heavy serving of butter, and sprinkling M&Ms over it. That's, I don't eat sugar right now, but when I did, I used to love that because it would kind of melt the M&Ms, and something to do with the butter, the salt, the chocolate, and the popcorn together. It was magical. I suggest you do that.
Yeah, the sweet and the savory. And then Jordan, until next time, our Keep Canada Weird commercial should be, come on over to Keep Canada Weird, where every episode is weird and Robbins never returns your calls.
I like it. Or responds to your emails. I did email them. Actually, I didn't even email them. I filled out one of those forms on their website.
But they don't read those.
I know they don't. But there has to be someone listening who has a connection. If you work at Robin's Donuts, just like tap your supervisor on the shoulder and be like, do you know about this podcast? I think we can, really make something happen here. It's a great partnership. Call corporate.
There's got to be a regional manager somewhere that hears the word that we're begging for this partnership.
Yeah, or maybe there's a listener that doesn't even work at Robin's, but their brother's girlfriend is a marketing director for Robin's Donuts. Actually, that would be too perfect. But if anyone knows anyone connected to Robin's Donuts in any way, make this happen for us. We don't ask for much.
Yeah. And once the sponsorship happens, we can finally retire.
Yeah.
And not fulfill any of the agreements of the sponsorship.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird, but let us also call out to you for even greater support in this important work. If something weird happens in your neck of the woods, we want to hear about it. Or if you have any thoughts, theories, or opinions on anything we discussed tonight, we want to hear about that as well. And if you want to record as a Robin's Donuts ad, we definitely want to hear that. The best way to reach us is by sending a voice message using the built-in app that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And again, to sweeten the deal, if your voice is aired on the show, you qualify for a Keep Canada Weird swag pack. So you can just send me your mailing information by sending an email to nighttimepodcast@gmail.com. Aaron and I are very excited to hear from you. Now, before we part here tonight, let me give us some thanks. First, a big thanks to Aaron for sharing another evening with me and with you, the listeners of Nighttime. A big shout out to the internet's favorite cult leader, Unicole, who provides the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data, who provides the outro version of O Canada that you're about to hear. And then lastly, but most importantly, a massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening to this show, as without your interest and your support, Nighttime would be as pointless as it would be impossible. On the topic of support, let me thank the newest subscribers to the premium feed. Chris, Abigail, and Cousin AE, thank you for going premium. And for anyone else out there who isn't currently subscribed to the premium feed and would like to support the show, you can do it in a variety of ways. First of all, a premium feed subscription costs just a couple dollars a month, and that money funds the creation of new episodes. But the premium feed will also give you those new episodes 2 days early, get them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of episodes, and give you access to bonus content available exclusively on the premium feed. If that sounds good to you, you can go premium right now at patreon.com/nighttimepodcast. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media and letting all your like-minded friends know what we're doing here. Your support is very much appreciated. Now until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and let us know if you see anything weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.
And now to our viewers and listeners everywhere. Good night.
Before we go, one last thing to do. Story of the night, Aaron. I am going to say the dramatic cat came back story. I love it because it's a human interest story. It's emotional, it's surprising, it's unexpected, and I love a cat story.
Yeah, that's my favorite story. I think the best story is the police giving the finger. That's probably got the most meat on the bones.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about it. And I found a whole bunch of different news reports, like different companies covering that story. One thing they all had in common is that they blurred the finger. Like, because his video shows the cop giving him the finger, but they censored it. And one news outlet, I think it was Global News, they didn't even say the finger. They said the cop made an obscene gesture with their hand.
Yeah.
Which is
There's
hilarious.
more than just the finger that you can do with your hand that's obscene.
Is there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Okay.
You could give a thumbs down. That could be obscene.
Maybe that's what it was.
You could do one of those things where it's like up yours. You're not giving the finger, but you're like doing the hand
shoot
on
your fist up?
bicep and you shoot your fist up like up yours.
Yeah, that's like the censored finger. It's like that's like saying F you instead of the full word is.
Yeah. You could do the under the chin.
Oh yeah,
like,
the Italian, like
kinda,
your fingernails under your chin and then you just flip them out.
Yeah.
You say like, nah. Something my grandmother would have done.